There you are, Greg. I see you.
Okay, so I started the recording. You all set to go, Margie?
Pardon me?
We all set to go?
And we're off.
We're off. Okay, so welcome to IMC DFW's August 2022 Consultants Roundtable. Today's topic is a deep dive into ConsultCon 2022. Personally, I'm very much looking forward to it. This session is being recorded. My name is Jim Tallarico. I'm the moderator today. I'm joined by the two co-chairs of ConsultCon, and I'm going to do my introduction, and then they're going to facilitate things from there. Give me a second with my slides. They get a little sticky when it's in this mode. Okay, let's talk about what's in it for everybody today. Two things. First, IMC DFW has rolled back its pricing by $100. And so for anybody who signs up during this meeting for in-person attendance, you'll be able to still get in at the $695 price. In order to capture that, you're going to have to enter the code DFW 2022. Here is the link. Let's talk about takeaways. There's a bunch of things that I think you'll take away from this session. First is a better appreciation of the benefits of attending ConsultCon 2022, learning what conference attendees will gain from the how-tos and workshops, being better informed about the keynote topics and speaker insights, knowing all the ways the conference will elevate your practice, reviewing the conference networking opportunities, summarizing the conference awards presentation. We have someone who's going to talk about the hotel accommodations and local attractions, and we're going to answer any other questions you may have about the conference. Our Zoom meeting guidelines include entering your name and LinkedIn profile and website into the chat section as you join so others can connect with you. Please be in the mute mode, turn off phones and TVs. Conversation in the chat window is encouraged and will be followed by the Zoom moderator and co-hosts. Please use the raise your hand function in the participant section or send a message in the chat if you have any questions. You may start entering your questions now. And Margie, I'd like to ask if you have a question that is your last question before signing up for the conference, put that in all caps and we'll make sure that we address that question immediately. Otherwise, we'll periodically be answering questions. Last, you can manually save the chat by clicking the Save Chat at the bottom of the chat window. The default is your documents, the folder, Zoom, and then the folder with the meeting name, date, and time. I'm going to skip our news, but I do want to mention that we have a robust roundtable, a robust group of speakers for our fall roundtables, and we're going to try a lunch and learn format. So for those people who aren't able to attend in the morning, we hope to be able to catch you around noontime. Last, excuse me. Each attendee will receive a recording of this session. The roundtable will extend beyond 9 a.m. to take additional questions if there are additional questions. The roundtable could be available to future audiences via YouTube, as Juan mentioned. So if you object for any reason to the session being recorded, you should consider whether you want to participate in the roundtable. Also, after the meeting, in addition to a copy of the recording, keep an eye out for our electronic post-roundtable swag bag, which will include a bunch of information about the conference. And last, we're always interested in ways that we can improve, so your feedback about how our chapter can improve is always welcome. Feel free to reach out to me or any of our board members. We have several board members on the call today. So with that, I want to introduce Margie, and then I'm going to turn things over to her. Margie has spent the last 22 years as the owner of Communicating Today's Way, Inc. She helps businesses communicate with their marketing messaging and internal conversations, verbal and written, and online and offline. She teaches a signature 7-step formula for developing communication strategies and is also a LinkedIn advocate and educator. Prior to owning her own business, she spent 20 years in corporate consultative sales for voice and data networks. And as I mentioned, Margie is one of this year's ConsultCon 2022 conference co-chairs along with Deborah Nolan. Margie, it's all yours.
Okay, thank you, Jim, and welcome everyone. And we are off. And I'd like to first ask my co-chair Debbie and our IMC Executive Director Greg to say hello and introduce themselves. They have to leave on the dot of 8 o'clock. So Debbie.
Great. Thank you, Margie. Thank you, Jim. It's great to see everyone. We are so excited about this year's ConsultCon 2022. Probably know the dates, but it's November 18th through the 20th at the iconic Brown Hotel. If you haven't had a chance to go to the website to see just the beauty and the history and the bourbon, among other things that the hotel has to offer, I encourage you to check it out. We have an amazing rate, $149 a night, which is not bad these days. So it's going to be a great time. We've got excellent programming, which you'll hear more about shortly. And we're looking forward to seeing everyone there. So thank you for being on today's call, and I'll turn it over to Greg.
Thank you, Debbie, and great hats, folks. That's the way to go into the spirit of the conference. So yeah, just want to give a quick update on the conference and where we are. We currently have about 450 members, and for an organization our size and the members that we have, we really should have about 100 at the in-person conference and 50 at the virtual. That's 150 participation. That's really where we should be. Of course, we'd like to be much higher than that, but at a minimum, that's the numbers that we'd like to reach. Where we are right now is we have 42 in-person and we have 31 virtual for a total of 73. That's our numbers now, so we're halfway there. We'd like to continue pushing. We have a number of more national campaigns that we've ever had before coexisting. Everything from contests to the audiences that we're reaching, to the messages that we're sending out, to the benefits that attendees will receive, you name it. We have sponsorship update here. We have exceeded our goal. We budgeted for about 12,000 in sponsorship. We've raised about 12,900. Yesterday, we landed another sponsor, and if we can get those numbers up, sponsors would be willing to invest more. They're seeking more in-person faces so that they could network for their own business. So we certainly have an opportunity there, and then we could make the conference that much better. We have additional funds to work with. Our volunteer leadership throughout the entire organization is working very hard for our outreach. I think that's going to be an important component of getting our members to sign up for the conference. We're getting close to the conference date. I think we're halfway there since we began registration and marketing. So I know there's many folks making phone calls. We encourage all to do so as well. Debbie, back to you.
Thank you, Greg. And I put the link to the Brown Hotel in the chat. So if you have a chance to check it out, if you haven't already, I encourage you to do so. And I'll turn it back over to Margie.
Okay, and remember everyone, if you register for the conference today, the on-site conference, you get $100 savings. So the code is in the chat, right, Jim?
I just put it in there.
Just go to the
Thanks for
regular
pointing that out.
registration and you'll enter the code, and that'll save you $100. We roll it back to the $695, but you have to do it during the meeting. So we'll keep reminding you of that. And I do want to do a quick shout out to all my conference committee members. If I call you, when I call your name, if you can just wave and say hello, so the little box will light up around you. That would be great. So Andre Vaccaro. There you are. Okay, say hi, so the box will light up.
Hey guys, good morning,
Okay,
everyone.
there you go. Okay, Ken, I saw you come in, Ken. There you are. Say hi. Okay, he's waving. Juan. Okay, you got to light up your box. People can't see your hands.
Oh, wait a minute. Hola, buenos
There you
dias.
are. Okay, we don't want to miss you, Juan. And Lindy Rome. Many of you remember Lindy. Say hi.
Good morning, everyone. How are you today?
And you may remember Lindy, she and Eva, Lindy's from AMCS Source, and she and Eva, our marketing guru from AMC Source, were the two people who greeted you at the beginning of each session of last year's virtual conference. So we love having Lindy with us. And Henry DeVries is on our committee, but he got hit with COVID yesterday. So he was knocked out of action for today. And our honorary members are Jim Alarico for all he's done to help us, and Trish Gaffney for all you do to help the conference. So thank you all. And we've all been working very hard to bring you a conference that will make you be the very best consultants you can be going out into this post-pandemic business environment that we're in. And we've built it around education, how-tos that you voted, the members voted for, wisdom. We've brought in keynote speakers that will take what you learn in the how-tos and what you already know to higher levels of application for this business environment. Distinction, everything you need to know about becoming a certified management consultant and having our coveted CMC credentials. And community, ability, lots of opportunities to meet each other, and at the conference build new alliances, form resources that you can access throughout the coming year. And so let's get started. We've got all the presenters here this morning to share with you their value and their why you want to hear what they have to say. And we welcome your questions. And as Jim said, we've asked you to put them in the chat, and Lindy will answer the ones she can in the chat. And if you have something pressing that makes the difference between you registering right now, open up with all caps, need to know. And then we'll address the remaining questions periodically or at the end. Okay, so one of the most frequently asked questions I get is, when should I arrive? So you all want to arrive no later than to be there for the official opening and official welcome and the opening keynote speaker at 5 o'clock, the 18th, Friday evening. Okay, but we have a lot of workshop education going on earlier than that. You want to arrive by 3, you can learn everything that you want to know about becoming a certified management consultant. So I'm going to turn it over to Lorraine and David to tell you about that workshop. Lorraine?
David's taking this one.
I know, technology being technology. Sorry about that. With Lorraine's permission, the two of us put our heads together and first of all discovered we had 74 years of management consulting experience between us, and started looking at what the CMC is, but more importantly, and the focus on the workshop, Margie, at 3 o'clock on Friday is why. What is the why about the CMC? As you all probably know, IMC USA is one of 51 constituent countries that offer the CMC. It's an international ISO standard, 17024. It is not about what you consult in. It is about how you consult. What are your competencies and what do you stand for? The key thing that Lorraine and I have done a deeper dive on and have some testimonials in particular is the big why. Department of Labor estimates there are some 800,000 consultants out there in the US alone. That's competition, folks. That's competition for your mind share, for your dollars, for your business and everything else. The CMC, the awarding of the CMC, allows you to differentiate yourself from 800,000 other folks, particularly from a marketing and a prospecting possibility. The words that you can use in using the CMC. We have some testimonials that we'll share on that Friday with you about how other CMCs are using it. For me, it's very simple. It allows me to separate myself from everyone else, period, end of story. The real quick version of it is, if you're going on a family vacation, you may want to get your mommy van, if you'll pardon me, to get checked out for the brakes and the oil and all that. You could go to any shade tree mechanic, but you might go to a certified mechanic because your family safety is involved. On April 14th, 15th of every year, you file your tax returns. Anybody can prepare your tax returns for you. But wouldn't you likely go, because of the complexity, to a certified public accountant? If you have a major health issue, anybody might be able to work on you, or as my 94-year-old mother used to say, cut on you. But likely you're going to try to find a board certified specialist. When your prospect entrusts their business to you and to the future, they could pick most anyone out of that 800,000. But why wouldn't they pick a certified management consultant? And that's the story I tell. And it resonated. So we're going to present what it is briefly. Real quickly, raise your hand if you have your CMC. Okay, so you guys know. Rest of you, I'm going to encourage you to come on 3 o'clock, come early, Margie. Come to the 3 o'clock session with Lorraine and myself. Let's learn what the CMC is about, learn how to get into the process and how we have streamlined the process. It is easier to run now, still with the same standards, but easier to run. But more importantly, why? The good, deep, passionate why about the CMC. I hope to have you all there. Let's do a better job of differentiating ourselves from the mass of humanity. Margie? Back to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Lorraine, did you have anything to add to that?
No, he covered it. Thanks, David.
Margie, I'd like to mention that I again put in the chat the link for those people who want to sign up for the conference. We only have about 50 minutes left. I do want to say that I drug my feet in terms of attending the conference up to 2019. I haven't missed one since. And a big part of my ROI, from being an IMC USA member comes from being part of the conference. And so I urge everybody to take advantage of the $100 discount. Again, the information's in the chat. Go ahead, Margie.
Okay. And if you want to come earlier on Friday at 1 o'clock, we have an ethics workshop. Juan, why do we want to attend a 90-minute workshop on ethics? You're muted, Juan.
I guess you didn't get my information about updating it. The title of the presentation is Ethics in Management Consulting, Fantasy or Reality? And the reason why I retitled it is because I've seen situations throughout my career where companies take a certain position and they promote it as their the way they operate, but in reality, they're not. They're not. So it's ethics in management consulting, fantasy or reality, and we're going to cover a broad number of issues. For instance, will ethics in future workplaces grow in importance? Yes, people don't realize that ethics today, because of what's happening, is going to become more important. There's going to be a revival of it. In another question we're going to address is, doing what one has the right to do always ethical? Not necessarily. And often it depends from the person's perspective. For instance, I often refer to the debacle during the 2000s when people were being given mortgages that they could not really meet if the interest rate went up. So banks had the right to do that, but the question was whether it was ethical or not. Then there's the issue of what's the best definition of ethical practices. There are definitions all over the place. We're going to talk about Stuart Potter, a Supreme Court judge, who said, you have to know the difference between what you have a right to do and what is right to do. In addition to that, there's a section on whether ethics can be culturally situational. Now, some people will say, no, ethics is ethics. We'll follow Aristotle's position on it. But the truth of the matter, if you travel throughout the world, as I have, I've been to 51 countries, ethics takes a different perspective as you go from place to place. we're going to be talking mostly about the US, but there may be instances where you do work overseas. So you need to have that. So those are some of the broad issues that we're going to be covered. Now, the question has been asked, why are you the person to do this? I had the good fortune during the 2000s, over a 5-year period, to do 249 presentations for Deloitte Touche, the consulting company. I was part of the Deloitte team, external team, who helped prepare the presentation. And I went on to do those 249 facilitations, really, from California to Puerto Rico. So I'm going to bring some of that experience. The format is going to be, the 90-minute format is going to be essentially very interactive, which I believe most of the individuals who are presenting are going to follow that model. We'll have the first hour, maybe 45 minutes, and then after that we'll do scenarios. We'll use scenarios with information from our CMC test so that it becomes real, and it's sort of a segue into what's going to be followed with David and Lorraine. So that's basically it.
Juan, Lorraine had a question about whether or not the session will qualify for ethics points for recertification for CMCs.
I don't know. Can anybody answer that? Greg,
I do think it qualifies.
It has always qualified in the past.
Yes,
well,
yes.
thank you. I didn't know that. So that's basically the program. Let me just make another observation about the conference itself. Often people talk about the what of a situation. For instance, people will often talk about, we need to add value. And I've seen that happen at IMC. I've seen it happen at Kiwanis. I've seen it happen on other boards that I've been a part of. But very often they forget about the how. You can talk forever about what needs to be done, but it's the how. So as you see throughout, that word how is often used. And I think that's very important in terms of the entire conference. So anyway, so that's my observation. I hope I didn't go over 2 minutes.
Thank you, Juan. Thank you. And running concurrently to both of these workshops is a 4-hour rainmaking tools for consultants. It will be led by Henry DeVries and Mark LeBlanc. Henry DeVries is out with COVID, and Mark is one of our keynote speakers. We're going to be talking about him shortly. But just to give you some takeaways from this 4-hour workshop, which will be interactive, as Juan said, is a popular format for all these sessions during the conference. If you're looking in your practice for more credibility, for more impact and influence, you need to build trust. You need to fill your pipeline. You've hit a revenue plateau, or you want to know how to leverage your time. This workshop addresses all of that, again, in an interactive format. I want you to know too, in all the sessions, you can go in and out. So even though this is concurrent, so know that. And so that's happening from 1 till 4. And then if you really want to arrive early, probably the night before.
Margie.
Yes.
Margie, Joyce has a question about that rainmaking session. Go ahead, Joyce. I'll let you ask the question.
Is there an additional cost for Henry and Mark? Because if there isn't,
it's included in the registration. Yeah.
Folks, I just want you to know that alone is worth the price of admission.
Yeah.
Thank
Right
you.
now they're traveling around the country doing it for a pretty fee. So no, it is included in the conference registration. Thank you, Joyce. And earlier that day at 8 a.m., there is a leadership summit, which is open to everyone. If you want to know more about how to get involved with IMC as a volunteer, join a committee, any ideas along that way, the agenda is not defined until September. Greg, our executive director, will meet with the executive committee and form the agenda. But it is open to everyone if you want to plan to arrive at 8 o'clock. And you will see on the agenda on Thursday evening, there's a leadership reception. That's an invitation only. includes our current leaders, our sponsors, and some other priority people that have been working with us. And some of you will be looking for your invitations if you haven't already received it. So that is Friday. Moving on to Saturday.
Margie, can I just ask a question about these first group of sessions? Will one be able to attend all of them, or do you have to pick and choose from this list?
Yeah, I just said you can go in and out.
Okay, so they will run concurrently? Some
Yeah,
of them will?
the CMC and the ethics are back to back. So you can start at one with ethics and then go to CMC. But the workshop, the 4-hour workshop, is concurrent with both of those.
Gotcha.
Okay, so
Thank you.
yes. Okay, thank you, Jim. All right, so moving on to Saturday. We're continuing with education, and we have 6 how-tos, 3 in the morning that are concurrent again, but you can go in and out, and 3 in the afternoon that are concurrent. Each is 90 minutes long, and each presenter is here to tell you why their session is the one you don't want to miss. And we'll start with the morning 3, which is how to restart your consulting business. Lorraine, take it away.
Thank you. So I'm currently serving as the Vice President of Professional Development and Learning and chairing the Academy Committee. And we're sponsoring this session about the fastest way to start or restart your business. And in this workshop, I will be teaching you how to match your experience and expertise to the right kinds of problems, projects, and clients. We use this process as an exercise in our fundamentals course, Mastering Management Consulting. And that will be offered live in the fall, beginning in the fall. That is a survey course for early career up to about 5 years, or if you're restarting your repositioning your practice. But here's what's going to happen here. It is a workshop, and when you identify the problems that you can solve and the solutions your clients will buy, that's very key. We may have solutions, but clients aren't going to buy them from an independent consultant. You won't waste your time on prospects that will never buy. And even seasoned consultants can benefit from this session because things change. And my goodness, COVID has really changed the way many of us interact with our prospects and clients. And sometimes what they're buying has changed because of their staffing. Also, as an experienced consultant, this will allow you to get bigger and more complex and higher value clients and projects. So the workshop is going to require active participation from the attendees. And we're going to have a workbook where they'll document the following items. First, the subset of your experience and expertise that has value to your prospects. What you did as an employee may not be of value as an outside consultant. The kinds of problems and projects that you can solve, and we're going to challenge you about whether clients and prospects will buy them. And then finally, to identify the category of high value prospects, looking at your market segments that you can serve, the economic and regulatory trends, geography, among other attributes, to how to figure out how to make the best use of your time. And we'll end with some quiet time so that you can ponder what you've learned and put it in your workbook to begin positioning your practice for growth. So I hope you'll come, whether you're new or aspiring or an experienced consultant wanting to amp up your kind of clients you get. Because I will tell you, it worked for me. Thank you.
You know, there's another thing you're going to get from this conference is energy, and workshops like this are part of what will infuse that energy to you. So thank you, Lorraine. And we all have a book inside of us, how to get it published this year. Ken?
Thank you, Margie. Now, I was going to do this segment with Henry, and as Margie said, and as she let me know, late last night in the East Coast, she's not late last night, but Henry has COVID. So I had my 2 minutes very well timed before I got that message from Margie. And she was in a bit of a panic, and I said, well, I think I can cover to some extent what Henry might have said. So Margie, I assume I get 3 minutes, not 2 minutes. Does that sound right?
Oh, go for it, Ken.
Also,
We're
I
on
want
schedule. We are on schedule. So good job, everyone. But
okay, good. I also want to just one quick note, follow up to what David Norman was saying about it, CMC. I have had a CMC for, I don't know, 20, I lost count, 24 years or something. I love having a CMC for the very reasons that he outlined. So I just want to sort of back that up, that it's a really, really great benefit of IMC that you can do that. You might see that I put a tag, a line or a tag name for myself, the book guy. That's only because I'm covering Henry's part today as well as my own. And anyway, other than that, you don't have to call me book guy from now on. What we would be doing in this segment would be helping you understand a couple of things. One is that on the heels of what Margie said, everyone has a book in them. I want to add that everyone can write and publish a book. Especially nowadays, there are more options than there used to be, and everyone can do that. But I know a lot of people hold back, wondering if it's really possible. Would a publisher be interested? Do I have anything interesting to say? That sort of thing. The publishers are waiting for you to contact them with a proposal for a book. And although they're in great competition and heavy competition with that, they don't necessarily know what they're looking for or what's going to sell or what they should publish. So they are waiting for you and me to query them. Now, I'm straying into my part of the session, which is that I was going to cover how to seek out and land a publisher, because that's particularly my expertise. So I will talk about that, but I also need to cover Henry a little bit and what he does, because that's a little bit different. And I would put it in this context. There are three main options for writing and publishing a book. A lot of people think it's finding a publisher, and that's really the only way you go about it. But there's 1, 2, and 3 options. The first one is, excuse me. The first one is to self-publish. Excuse me. Okay. The first one is to self-publish, and you pretty much do that yourself unless you hire a team that you have to gather together and help you edit it and print it and all that technical. Excuse me. So that's one option. But a second option might be called alternative. There's also a label on this other option, which is hybrid. And what that basically means is that you would hire a firm like Henry's to be your publisher. And he would have a team in place to handle everything that a regular publisher, let's call it, would do. And I can't get into more detail than that because I'm not Henry, but I do know enough to know that that can be a better way to go than to just try to tackle self-publishing on your own. You also would have a publisher. Indie Books is Henry's publishing imprint. So that's the second option. And the third one is, as I mentioned, what's my specialty, which is to seek out and find a publisher in the traditional sense. In order to do that, since this is my time now, this is my minute. In order to do that, you need to know that having a publisher is not nirvana. Having a publisher means that you have to be willing to be in a partnership, a true partnership with your publisher. That is to say, you don't get to control everything or decide everything. But if you land a publisher that is very collaborative, which most of them frankly are from what I've seen, then then that's how it will go. And there'll be questions about the book cover design and the book title and things of that nature. But the main thing is to know that to have a publisher is to be in a collaborative relationship, not to be able to call all the shots. So the last thing, and maybe even the more important thing, is that in order to actually land a publisher, you need to have a proposal as opposed to a finished book. And you also need in your proposal to talk about how you will market and sell your book, because that's the business model of a publisher today. They are not going to do that stuff for you. Maybe a little, but not really. They're going to be looking for you, not only to have a great idea for a book, to write it well, but to also find ways to get it promoted. And that's, by the way, what my service is all about. And I've worked with quite a few IMCers over the years to make that happen and to land a publisher. I would just add one other thing, or two other things about having a publisher. One is that now, frankly, is the best time to do this in the next couple of months, because that's when a lot of decisions are made. And the second is January, February, March, April are important decision-making periods too. So either way, whether you start now or you start after our session in November, you want to just get started, because that's it's opportune. So the very last thing I'll say about having a publisher is I find a lot of people come to me and they wonder about these different options and which one's right for them. Usually when they choose that they would like some help in finding a publisher, it's all about validation. You know, what did I say in the beginning about people wondering if it's really, they really have good ideas, or ideas that would resonate, or that could be in a book or whatever. To have a publisher want to publish you is a way of knowing that people in this business are validating your ideas. So there are a lot of reasons not to have a publisher in a traditional sense, and to go with a firm like Henry's. But if you really feel that that's important to you, that validation, then that is the reason to do this. So I've spoken for a few minutes, and I don't know if it sounds like I've told you everything, but believe me, I have not. I could do a 2 or 3 day seminar on this. So that's what Henry and I are going to put together in that segment in November. And I would just leave you with, if any of you have any questions for me or Henry, to email us. We're both members of IMC naturally, and so our emails are available. But email us now and in advance. Don't wait until November. We're happy to help right now. And
Okay, thank you, Ken.
Margie, before we segue, I just want to mention that I again put the information about signing up for the conference in the link. I appreciate the comments that we have in the chat that give more information. We're not even halfway through, and you can see that there's going to be a lot of value that comes out of the conference. So the link is there along with the discount code. Margie, it's all yours.
Okay, and Jim, Sissy has a question. Can you direct message her and ask her a question to you? Okay.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Sissy Meredith. And then the last session of the morning is how to negotiate strategies to enhance client relationships. Is James Fallowell here? He's one of our local ambassadors in Louisville, and he got hit with COVID. He came home from a conference. He was hit with COVID, and he had a family vacation, and he's in the mix of all of that. So I wasn't sure whether I kind of lost communication with him along the way, although he was eager and anxious and has been from the very beginning to be helpful. But I will tell you a little bit about his session. He comes very well educated in negotiating. And the takeaways are how negotiating applies to our relationships with our clients. strategies to interpret clients' wants and needs, and collaborative negotiating. I, for one, am intrigued by the whole topic of negotiating. I've heard it all through my corporate life, and I have yet to learn the real tricks and tips. And his credentials include master negotiation, a program that is out of Harvard Law School, certified business negotiator, and many. You can look at his profile on the website. And if you're interested in negotiating, he is well qualified. So that's the morning session of 3. They're concurrently offered, but you can go in and out of each one. And in the afternoon, we have how to advance your status from anonymous to known. Roberta, it's yours.
Thank you so much, Margie. And before I start, I would like to say, Juan, you missed one category of CMC. And that is those of us who are working on our CMC and working on it and working on it and still working on it. I am writing my first book. I do plan to have it published January, February of next year. And I do plan to have my CMC by then so I can get the damn thing stamped on my book. So there you go. Nothing like a deadline to get you off your bunzos. All right, so the title of our presentation, which is Lisa Apolinsky, and my presentation in the afternoon, is How to Create Your Brand Today for Exceptional Engagement Tomorrow. So it's a little variation on what's on the form right now for the agenda for today. Your clients and you will be better off as you elevate your standing as a sought-after authority and thought leader. So what must you create today for better brand engagement tomorrow? See the customer as hero. Lock in your purpose, the why of how your work makes them better off. Create a brand story that talks to the future client about transforming to the condition they're seeking. Be the brand magnet that draws the prospect to you. Lisa Apolinsky, CMC, and I invite you to attend our Saturday breakout session for a very robust discussion on the future of branding and how to advance your status from anonymous to known. We'll show you how to craft your brand story and thought leadership so that the client sees themselves as hero and is attracted to your services and products. Some of what we're going to cover: why you should care about the intersection of reputation, influence, opinions, and thought leadership. How building a community strengthens your personal brand. Why opinions are the hallmark of thought leadership and how to create them. Really how to create them. Developing a more humanized brand, handling imposter syndrome, limiting beliefs and confidence issues that may be holding you back. And I will tell you, everybody has those monkeys on their backs. You'll leave knowing how to harness the power of your stories, the power of stories, why you should build your community to help with your brand, and how to humanize your brand. And finally, you will actually leave with a draft of your core purpose-driven brand message, tools to assess your online and interpersonal reputation, and finally, a roadmap to advance from expert to thought leader and draft your 14-day visibility action plan. Don't miss out. Join us in Louisville. Come to our session.
Okay, thank you, Roberta. And if anyone is always branded, you are. You're such a inspiration for becoming branded.
Thank you, thank you.
The next session has 3 different speakers. It covers podcasting, live video, and how to be successful using either via your presentation. And we're going to start with how to produce a podcast with Dr. Sissy Meredith. She is one of our AMC source. I don't know, you have your own business and you work with AMC Source, but welcome. We're so happy to have you. So the floor is yours. Okay.
And I stopped to share, Sissy, so if you have any slides, you can connect.
Well, fantastic. Well, first of all, I love the fact, James, that you took the PowerPoint down before I share the screen, because I love seeing everybody in all one gallery. So good morning, everyone. It's nice to see you. I am actually in Kentucky, about 40 miles east of Louisville. I can tell you this morning, it is in the low 60s. It is the most beautiful fall acting day I have my windows and doors open, so if you hear guest chirping, it just means the birds are close by saying hello to all of you. So just a quick share of what I'll be covering during my session. I figured I would just show you part of my, and hopefully you can see my screen. Can you see the screen?
Yep.
And James or Margie say yes, because
Yes.
I can't see you anymore. Oh, perfect. So this is just an example of what we'll be covering during a podcast. One of the things that you don't see on the screen is that the fact that I'll be showing you a product that you can use for free. And it will walk you through a very simple way of creating a podcast in 4 simple steps. So knowing that we'll be video streaming along with podcast and how-tos during that session, I wanted to make sure that we can do some 4 easy steps during that time. And at the end of the presentation, I'll be sharing with you some examples that I've worked with a couple of universities, and currently right now as Director in Learning and Development for InnovaCare in Orlando, some things that we're working on with them to creating a podcast channel. So it's a great way for outreach, whether you're wanting to outreach for members or clients. It's a terrific way for what folks are calling in the training and development world micro-learning. So if you have folks that need just-in-time learning, or if you want to make sure that you're getting the message across, but it's not too long, podcasts are a terrific way to get a message out in 10 minutes or less. And that's really the thing that I've been encouraging folks, that when you're creating a podcast, these don't have to be an hour in length. They don't need to be 30 minutes in length, but they can be 10 minutes in length, and you can surely get your message across. So I hope you're able to join us. I know the video streaming is also an incredibly important thing to learn, so I'm excited to be partnering with those 2 other speakers too. So Margie, back to you, and James, I'm going to stop share.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Margie, I have a question. There's just so much good content, and if you're there in person, you can only be in one place at one time. And I'm just curious, if you do attend the in-person, would you be able, for example, to go into one of the sessions and there be the speaker slide deck or a recording after the fact that you could go ahead and listen if for some reason you missed something that you really did want to attend?
I guess it's up to each speaker if they want to provide the slide deck. Most speakers do. And Lindy might be able to answer the question if the breakouts are going to be part of the recordings that people get from the conference.
I do not believe that they are.
They're not recorded? Okay, so maybe we can arrange to have talk about how presenters could record it as well. So we'll work on that, okay? So we'll see, we'll talk to each presenter about what they want to do. But again, you can go in and out. And, you know, Ken has this monthly meeting every month that some of the top breakouts could be something he plans for his C2M meetings going forward. So that's a thought as well. Ken, you listening? So the last one on, no, the same session. The second speaker in this second session is Joyce on how to optimize your video presence. Joyce, take it away. And we're 2 minutes, please. We're falling behind a little bit. So you're muted, Joyce.
I got it, but you have to stop sharing.
Oh, sorry.
Please.
Okay.
Thank you. It's really hard to demonstrate. In fact, I'm going to go. Could you go to speaker view, please?
There you go.
Sorry to use your time.
That's okay.
Okay, so whether you're doing a sales presentation or a podcast or simply doing virtual training for one of your clients, or like me, if you have your own TV show, you want to come across just as well as possible. And so that's what my presentation is going to be all about. And if you don't come in to Louisville, you'll miss it. And let me tell you some of the kinds of things that I'm going to be covering. Now, normally I do not wear glasses. I'm wearing glasses today because I just got an eye treatment. If you did not know this, there are now treatments for something called wet AMD. And what they do is they give you a shot in your eye, and you can't wear contact lenses for 3 days. But this gives me a perfect opportunity to show you one of the tricks. Now, you'll notice that you can see the reflection in my glasses, but if I just tip them up like this, then you can't see a reflection, right? Also, I'm going to talk about products that you can use, whether you're a man or a woman, to not show the wrinkles here. And I'm going to talk about all kinds of different things that will help you to be better, including one of my little tricks about how to turn your Word document into a teleprompter in a virtual presentation. Thank you very much. Take it away, Margie.
Oh, thanks, Joyce. I'm going to be sitting right in there. I like that wrinkle remover, big time. I might call you on that one. Anyway, the last one is Do You Do Video with Carl Potter. And he is in the process of picking up a college friend at the airport as we speak. So he couldn't make it this morning, but he sent me words to say for him, and he looks forward to sharing how he uses video to extend his presentations and even his executive reports to his clients. And he will also be sharing what he's found to be the easiest way to produce videos, we all like easy, with the equipment that he has, and how to make the audience feel like you're in the room with them. And if you know Carl, you know he'll do an excellent job at this. So he's covering the live video and video presentations. And last but hardly least, a new member to IMC, and we all want to welcome Joost Grausen. And he's one of our local ambassadors in Louisville. And he's going to talk to everyone about how to find, create, and continually refresh strategy. Joost, you're on.
Yes, thank you. So my strategy to remove wrinkles is to every day eat slightly more than I should. It keeps my face in perfect shape. So I am Joost Gruben. I was born Dutch, but I live indeed in Louisville. By the way, the noise here is not birds chirping outside. It is a contractor who did not understand my message to be quiet. I apologize for that. Anyway, I live in Louisville, which of course is the city of our November conference. And I'll be very happy to welcome you in this beautiful Midwestern town where there's lots to do beside what you all know, bourbon and horses, although please don't skip the bourbon nor the horses. After having worked in the global steel industry for over 36 years, I started on my own 2.5 years ago. Things are going pretty well. I'm busy. I started by using my network, of course, and I'm proud to say I have clients in the US, Mexico, France, and Germany. What I learned actually in this time is that my knowledge and experience is worth something. When you, like me, are always surrounded by people in the same industry with the same or actually more knowledge than yourself, you tend to forget that what you know is actually special. Moreover, that is valuable. I became a member, as Margie said, of IMC just a year ago, as I knew I could use help from all of you to get better at my new job. I'm happy to be part of IMC, and while I did not expect to contribute so soon, I'm excited about the opportunity to share some of my experiences with you in November. In my session, I will discuss 3 cases that I'm actually still working on, call it real-life consulting. My clients of these 3 cases are in Mexico, France, and Germany, but they all have links to the US, and that is important to the cases. I will go over how each came about. So how did I get this contact? What I thought my work was going to be, what strategies I then developed for the customer, what actually happened, the difficulties I faced when the customer wanted something else, the mistakes I made, what I turned out to be good at, but I didn't know that, what I turned to be not good at, how I attempted to deal with cultural differences, which there are multiple levels of, and so much more. My idea of our 1.5-hour session together is to have a lively conversation in which I tell you what I did, but then I want to hear your views and ideas on how I could have done things differently and maybe even better. I enjoy talking. I'm not afraid of opposing views. I tend to intersperse with either correct or politically incorrect jokes, so you have to be able to handle that. But if you are, then I'm sure we'll have a good time together and be a bit better at what we do at the end of it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Joost. Thank you. And those are our how-tos on Saturday. Moving on, we have keynote speakers Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. As I mentioned, taking this knowledge and elevating it to higher levels of application. Our Friday opening of the conference is Mark LeBlanc, and his keynote is Never Be the Same: How Successful Consultants Grow Their Businesses. Great opening to get your mind ready for the rest of the conference. And Henry DeVries was to tell us some secrets about Mark, but Henry is not here. And Juan knows Mark well and is a big fan. Juan's going to take just 2 minutes, because we're running behind, and share the marvel of Mark LeBlanc with us.
I'll do it quickly, less than 2 minutes, because I have something to add also. As Margie has said, I've known Mark for years. He was the president of the National Speakers Association. Let me give it to you in a nutshell. If you haven't read his book, Growing Your Business, you should. His presentations always have to do with specifics, things that you can do, as opposed to lofty things. You often go to a presentation and the person on stage goes around, does all sorts of jokes, but by the time it's over, you haven't picked up anything. I guarantee that you will pick up something from Mark. He's just absolutely sensational in terms of specificity. I've attended over the years, I don't know how many of these sessions, and I've always come away with something. Again, Growing Your Business is a great book. So let me use the rest of the time about something that Joyce said at the beginning. And I'm tying it to the issue of adding value. Some individuals will say, well, I'm not going to attend that session. And you might use this in speaking to them. It doesn't add any value. Nonsense. I have attended sessions all over throughout my life. Do I come away with something from every session? No. But there are sessions that are just worth the price of attending. Joyce mentioned that at the beginning. Rainmaking tools for consultants, plus some of the other things that they will say. That in itself is worth the money. So I can't buy the argument that there's no value. Every conference has value. The question is to know how to maximize it. Now, if you're there in person, obviously you can interact with individuals. I went to the Nashville session. I'm sponsoring somebody that I met for this conference. I'm hoping that she becomes a member of IMC. I met people who publish children's book. I'm interested in that. So the point is that there is always value. Anybody who says, oh, there's no value, nonsense. You can come away with something that you will gain from. And I say to you, if anybody gives you that argument, there's no value in it, use that argument, because I think it's a solid argument. And Joyce, you're right. Rainmaking for tools for consultant, outstanding. Unfortunately, I have to say that, and unfortunately, it's at the same time my ethics presentation is, but I have to say the truth. Okay, that's enough.
Okay,
So-
great input, Juan. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you.
Margie, may I give a 10-second testimonial? Watching Mark LeBlanc at an IMC conference is why I signed up with Henry to publish my book, because Mark is amazing.
Yeah.
Done. Thank
He
you.
won't dance on stage, but he'll give you things to take away that will be helpful to you.
No, but I will.
You'll dance on stage.
Okay, and the rest of our keynotes are equally astounding. Leading us on Saturday morning, a great launch to our day of how-tos is Jane Calvia Lucas. And again, she was brought to us by Henry, and he was going to tell us some secrets, but he's not here. So I've got her takeaway. Her topic is how your social media brand can elevate your business. And her takeaways are, we all need social media. I mean, we're all at the age where we remember when it came into our business and we use it or we don't use it, and we got to use it. It's core right now. You've got to get control of it. You can't not have control of it. And so she's going to talk about 5 ways to effectively use social media, common mistakes, how to build your profile, amplify your reputation, and post content for generating leads. So she'll be a great kickoff to all our how-tos. And wrapping up Saturday, there could be nobody better after a day of learning to put that energy back into you than Greg does well. And Jim is going to tell us a little bit about him. And his topic is how to market like a rock star. And you'll be rocking at the end of the day on Saturday. Jim?
Yeah, great. So Margie attended one of our roundtables where Craig spoke. And the 3 points I was going to make about Craig is, number 1, Craig will have you leaving as excited as you were when you came the first day for the very first session. He's really a dynamic speaker. Probably one of the coolest people we had. He was a personal assistant for Axl Rose and Air Supply. And as Margie mentioned, he's going to leave you with 5 steps for how to present yourself like a rock star. Thank you, Margie.
Thank you. And then Sunday closing, again, Henry knows Manisha Dwan. But I gave the directive. This is what I asked for a closing keynote. I said, I want someone that after all our learning, all this knowledge we've acquired, someone who can now take us into this environment of inclusion, diversity, equity, hybrid office, remote workers, resistance to change, eager to change, COVID, abortion, global, international, right in our offices, let alone our businesses, multiple cultures. How do we go in and be successful at consulting? And more happens every day that we have to be aware of and be on top of to help our clients. And Manisha fit the bill. So stick around. You don't want to miss her. This will be probably the most important message that you can learn for your success going into 2023. And those are our keynote speakers, and we have more. We have an open space we're still working on Sunday morning. And we have some ideas. We haven't really cemented them yet. We have people we can put in there, but we haven't cemented it. So if you see something that is missing that you would like, put it in the chat. Let us know your thoughts on what isn't here that you would like. And I can't guarantee it'll be included, but we want to look at, we want to be careful with that last spot that we have and make sure it maximizes the whole opportunity. And then we're an organization, we love to celebrate each other's successes. And so the conference is where we can come together and share our people who have made achievements throughout the year. And Joyce is the chair of our awards committee. Joyce, you want to tell us why the awards ceremony is so important? You're muted.
It's still my pleasure. Thank you so much, Margie. So why do we give awards? So I came up with 3 R's. We give awards to recognize the contributions that people make to the organization, both on the chapter level and the national level. We give awards to reinforce the value to the individual for making the effort. And we give awards because awards revitalize our organization. It's a win-win-win. And it also gives you an opportunity to feel really good. And for me, it was that time where I said, I want to be one of those people receiving those awards. And what do I need to do to support IMC so that some years later, I am that person? And it worked for me, and now I'm in charge of the Recognition and Awards Committee. In any case, we invite you to come. We urge you to join us. This is an opportunity to recognize the important contributions that our friends and fellow members have made to this organization that gives us so much. Thank you. Look forward to seeing you there.
Thanks, Joyce. Thank you. And it's during lunchtime, so it's a really fun and celebrating event. People, all this knowledge is great, but I think the best knowledge comes from knowing each other. And I've been to 2 live conferences, and meeting the people is what made IMC for me. I don't know where I'd be if I hadn't met the people before Zoom. It was such a difference. With Zoom, it's helpful, but live interaction and really knowing the other fellow members is so valuable. So I made sure we had lots of ways for you to meet each other. And you know, some of us are comfortable with it, some of us aren't. So we have different ways. Friday night is a cocktail hour. And sometimes that's a lot of people saying hello to their old friends, but nice to grab somebody and introduce them to new people. And so it's just a fun cocktail party. And Saturday morning, bright and early, you come to breakfast, and over on the side, we're going to have speed networking. This is great for someone who's not comfortable going up to strangers or opening up conversations. If you've ever done speed networking, you sit across from each other and you have 2 minutes to each share what you're looking for. We'll give you some questions to ask to start you off. And it's amazing what you learn. Amazing. Every time I do this with a group, they never want to go home. They want to stay there and talk to the people they met. So we're going to have that going on simultaneous to having your breakfast on the side, because you can't do it while you're eating. And that will be fun. And again, if you're uncomfortable, make sure you plan to do the speed networking, so you'll be meeting people easily. And then we have lots of open spaces. We have on Saturday night, you can get to go to dinner. I can't read my own writing here. You get to go to dinner in Louisville, and we'll have group signups to go to different restaurants, and we'll have our local ambassadors always around and available to give you guidance on what to do in Louisville. Sunday morning at breakfast, you can come in, and tables will have different conversations on platforms that you're using. We haven't gotten the details on that, but it will be conversations over your breakfast, so it will be happening while you're eating. And you can learn about how other consultants are handling different their business for different platforms for managing their businesses. And then I talked about Saturday night and the group sign up. So there's lots of breaks in between to check your email, phone, but also get together and meet new people that you meet in the breakouts. And most of these sessions, a lot of them are interactive. So you're going to meet people in the sessions as well. But do know there's no other better opportunity. I can't remember the agendas for the 2 conferences I've gone to, but I can tell you which people I met at which conference and how and where. So I'm a strong proponent of meeting each other and getting to know each other. And speaking of the local environment, we have our 2 local ambassadors here, but Joost has spoken for his session. Danny Brew is here, and I think you grew up in the area, Danny. So what do you want to say to everyone about coming to Louisville?
Louisville's a great town. Nice Midwestern town, beautiful place, rolling hills. So come to Louisville, would love to meet more of you.
Okay, so each week in our weekly email, we give you suggestions for what to do. And just yesterday, Joost made, is that still good with your wife, Joost? You're muted.
Yes, Claudia. Well, she doesn't know yet, but yes, it's okay.
Okay. Yesterday, if you bring your wives and they're hanging around during the day on Saturday, Joost's wife will take them on a shopping trip through Louisville and lunch. And there's consignment shops with the dresses that no one wants to wear twice and the hats and fun stuff to see. So that will be one of the available activities if you want to bring your wives to the conference.
Male partners are, of course, also welcome. We'll then insert a trip to one of the few mail consignment shops, but they do have them, and I've bought stuff there, and it's pretty cool.
Oh, cool, because I know some mail partners that are coming. So great. So that's one activity we got in the works. And I know that Yost loves a French restaurant, and I know Danny loves an Indian restaurant, and James is one of our local people too. His wife grew up in the area. So look in the emails. We're going to have each of them list some of their 3 favorite things that they like to do. And of course, the tour of the racetrack and the hotel has 120 bourbons. So you might want to plan to come early or stay later a few days and explore the area. Did you know it's famous for baseball bats? I didn't know that. I mean, it's got some amazing
Yes,
stuff
that's
going.
the world famous Louisville Slugger. It's made right here in
Yes, it
downtown
is.
Louisville.
Yeah.
It's a quaint museum. I don't like baseball, but I'm very proud that we have this museum here.
Yeah, so so we've got our dress hats on today. You know, I have my derby, my working conference hat, but I put my dress hat on, and Lindy wore hers, and Deborah wore hers. And so I want you all to get in the spirit. I'll be showing up at your meetings. Any final questions? We're rolling in on time. Thank you all.
Margie, I want to mention for those couple of people who haven't signed up for the conference yet, the information to sign up is in the chat. I want to encourage people to stay past 9 o'clock today. We're going to be giving away our chapter a $25 gift card, and Trish has her virtual pinwheel all set and ready to go. And I also want to just bring to your attention, there's a lot of good ideas on Sunday about ideas, and so you might want to save the chat, Margie, and take a look at those ideas. Back to you.
Yeah, I have a question. That would be about COVID and COVID precautions, and some kind of mention on the website, what IMC USA is doing to help people. We can only hope that there's no new variant and that it's diminished in November. However, there are some of us who are still terrified. I'm one of them, about getting COVID, for getting long COVID. So what kind of precautions are we going to be telling attendees and putting up on the website that we're going to be doing?
I believe, Lindy, there's a link to the hotel's criteria for COVID. Is that on the website now?
I'm not sure that it's on the website, but when you go to the link for the hotel to book your hotel, all the COVID restrictions and outlines and guidelines are there.
Yeah,
I'd like to ask to put a link on on our conference page, because there may be people who are not attending because we're not saying anything about COVID.
We
need to give assurances
let me
up
add
front.
to that, because I think Roberta is absolutely right. By doing something along those lines, it could get a few people. If we get one individual who decides to attend in person because of that, then we've gained. So I totally agree. There should be
we're
something
gathering
up there.
together. The website is still going. We've gathered together tweaks, and we're putting them all together and submitting them. So I will add that to the list of final tweaks. The website is not finished, so there are changes, but I'm just making sure I'm running it by my marketing people and making sure we get them all at once so it can be updated at once. So I will add that to it. I will let you know our space has lots of room. So if there's 6 feet of distance required between people, that will be easy to accommodate if that is a question at the time. So lots of room for that in the hotel. And it's a big concern, especially when you come home. Any questions on the conference? Any other concerns or any signups?
I just proposed that for Sunday we do something on the future and on trends. And Joyce immediately said, "How about a panel discussion?"
Okay, those are great ideas.
That Joyce will moderate. And I also added the old confab talk show, and some of us here know exactly how to do the talk show.
Right, there's the talk show that's wandering around for where we want to put that. Another thing that has been strongly recommended, and just a show of hands, I guess there, and I just saw a meeting on it yesterday, with passwords and security, especially with remote workers, but on opportunities for all types of consultants in the cybersecurity industry. It's big, it's hot, it's no longer just invasion. Like I mentioned, the remote worker is a concern, that situation. How do you address that? And how many emails should they have? So any interest in knowing more about that right here? 2, 3, maybe very weak hands. Okay, Lindy, you're my witness. Okay, tell
I
Greg.
put 2 hands, so I think that's what I'd say.
Okay.
I think, Margie, I think if you expand it out to what remote work means to businesses and how they need to rethink the concept of teams, the concept of strategy, so that location now plays into all business functions. Now I think you've got something for many consultants in our midst, because it'll touch, cybersecurity is one aspect of it, but all of that now touches almost every area that our consultants are experts in.
Yeah, there's a whole wealth of information on the remote worker of things, how to communicate, how to get their trust, how to, mutual trust and the safety. So how many like the idea of more specifics on remote workers? Some, okay. All right, let me know your ideas and we'll work on it all. Anything else before Jim takes over? I think he's got $25 to give somebody too. So yeah, so okay, I want to thank you all. Thank you. The committee is here to hear your input and we welcome your ideas and suggestions. We are not done. And we would love to see everyone in Louisville. And of course, we want you all to be there safe and well. So with that, I thank you again. And Jim, it is yours.
Thank you, Margie, for everything you're doing.
Oh, thank you. And I will end by saying, and we're off.
Great.
Into 2023.
Great presentation. Our chapter would like to show their appreciation for those who attended today. I'm going to ask Trish to put up her virtual pinwheel. I'm going to put my email in the chat, and whoever wins, if you email me your address, I'll make sure we get something out in the mail to you today. Trish, it's all yours. Trish, you there?
Like Trish has left. No, there
No,
she is.
Trish is muted.
Trish is muted. Trish,
she's muted.
let me see. I didn't unmute you. Let's see. Ask to unmute.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, once you share your screen, it's hard to unmute yourself.
Okay.
All right. We're shuffling the deck here. And we're going for the gift card. And I'll do this again.
Okay.
Oh, this is suspicious.
No. That's not working. Oh, it went to Elizabeth when I took myself out. So there you go, Elizabeth.
There you go.
So Elizabeth is the winner of the gift card that our chapter is giving away this morning to kind of cap off our wonderful session on getting to know more deeply what the conference will be about and helping you give tools to your ask of others to attend the conference with you. Back to you, Jim.
Great, thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up. We're a little bit past the hour, but I do want to ask you to keep an eye out for our swag bag, which is going to include a lot of information, some of which we didn't really talk about that much today, like sponsor opportunities and so forth. We'll also have a copy of the recording for everybody. Thank you for attending IMC DFW's monthly roundtable. We look forward to seeing you all at future sessions. As I mentioned, we'll be doing some lunch and learns and look forward to seeing you there. Thank you, everybody. If there's any final comments, please feel free to take the floor and make those. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.
I'm just gonna say
Congratulations.
we're gonna leave the discount code open until the end of the day. So you have that DFW 2022 expires at midnight.
Thank you, Lindy.
That'll
Okay.
save you $100. Bye, everyone. See you in Louisville.
Congratulations for the fantastic.
Thank you,
event.
everyone. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Margie. Thank you, Jim. Fantastic.
Bye all.
Been very insightful. Thank you.